Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Tricked For. This time, it's another special episode. It's kind of a twofer. You get to hear us talk about Star Trek TNG, the Star Trek TNG VHS game, a Klingon challenge. Hear us do the setup, get ready for it. But also, we dig into Strange New Worlds. If you haven't watched Strange New Worlds yet, I guess just don't listen to that part. But if you are into Strange New Worlds, if you've been watching along with it and loving it like Jimmy and I, and Keith also, yeah, stick around for both halves, and then you'll be all ready for next week. Speaking of, you've probably seen us talking about more recent Trek even more often on our Facebook page. It's All Been Trek Before, spelled like it sounds. It's All Been Trek Before. Follow us on Facebook. Dive in. We've been having some conversations with people lately. Very pleasant conversations. We're all IDIC. We're all together in this galaxy. But right now, let's talk about Strange New Worlds. Let's talk about a Klingon challenge on It's All Been Trek Before.
It wasn't complicated. There were just a lot of pieces.
Yeah.
Once you got through them and you got playing, it was easy to remember.
The rhythm.
Or look at it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I got a new isolinear chip. Which number is that? Mm. Okay, I got it. I do think when you lost your first isolinear chip, you were supposed to lose your holodeck cards.
Okay.
So I think that was one screw up we had. Yeah. The end of the game.
That makes sense.
By legitimate direct rules, we lost, but I think it was close enough.
The badge?
What about
yeah.
But I think I'm counting it as a win because it was right on the razor's edge. If Keith had just moved before Steven talked within that 1 second, we would have won. So I'm counting it.
Well, I was just trying to tell him to take it off because I didn't want him to take it in there.
Well, if you catch him, what it's supposed to do is like knock him back and punish him. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. There is a punishment, but if you moved and finished before he caught you, and so I moved you before you guys finished your debate.
It was. I think I might have entered the 2 before he.
Suitably hectic.
I took it off.
Yeah, it was very much wait till the smoke clears and see. Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Trekked Before. Your regular hosts are here.
This is Steven.
And the Medal of Honor recipient.
Medal of Valor.
Oh, Valor. Sorry, yes.
Keith Gob Jackson.
Yeah. But I do have honor as well.
Gob Jackson.
Well, I guess that remains to be seen once we figure out all the.
So we played Star Trek: The Next Generation, the interactive VHS board game, where we popped the tape in the VCR and we moved around the Enterprise and tried to stop Captain Kavik. And for you Patreon donors at the $5 level, let's say, and above, we are going to release the whole hour plus of us going over the rules and playing the game for your enjoyment. Or not. If you want to see that, check it out. If you don't want to see that, then you can just listen to us talk about the game. And we're going to give you our review here. It's first impressions of the game.
It was. I thought it was pretty clever, and when we were going through, it seemed eerily coincidental for a bit. It seemed the timing was just amazing for that first part. I was like, how? It's like he was. Actually, lining up to get me for certain kinds of things, and it was
VCRs do have really strong artificial intelligence.
I kept wanting to Badgie to show up at some point, either in the holodeck cards or just we find out that the big reveal it is Badgie the whole time.
Yeah, I thought it was fun. We talked off mic in the green room that it took us forever to read through the rules, but they weren't really that complicated as far as confusing, I didn't think.
There are a lot of moving pieces, but they were easy to understand and easy to kind of pick up as you're going.
Once you got in a rhythm and you could kind of feel the rhythm of Kavak was going to show up, well, not necessarily a rhythm, you didn't know when it was going to. It was kind of like a musical chairs kind of thing, like I want to be the person stuck when he pops on the screen.
Yeah, I think I only got it once.
Yeah, Keith was getting it louder, and then it was me.
Well, and you were the highest ranking, so you got extra for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then Keith got the second in command got hit a couple of times too, just for being second in command.
Dubbed Gach, the worm.
Yeah, I mean
food worm. Yeah.
My first impression, I thought it was a lot of fun. I think the timing element certainly adds something to it. Without the countdown clock, it's not as much fun. That really gives it some spice. And with the VCR, it's a lot better than just a ticking clock.
Of course.
It makes it more interesting. Yeah.
You don't have to you don't have to focus on the time. And they'll remind, it's like, hey, we're here. Look at the time now.
Well, Well, I mean, the game started out, I felt pretty relaxed. We weren't hurrying. We were taking our time, and we should have been hurrying, which we see in retrospect. And then we got 10 or 15 minutes in, and, like, none of us had isolinear chips. So, like, now I started to feel it. But the thing is, the further you get along, the easier it is to keep going. Yeah. You get a lot of advantages as you go.
That's right.
But I think when we're starting off, this is our first time playing, too, so that adjustment time, I think it was nice to be able to do that. I think we could probably go through a little faster when you...
We need to hit it harder.
Yeah. I think it was perfect because I think I often talk about TNG episodes. They're like, just get to where we're going. And then they get to where they're going. They're like, all right, well, we got 2 minutes left. See you next week. It's like, that was a quick wrap up. Maybe you should have got there sooner.
Before we talk about how our version of the game ended, what were your favorite parts? What favorite elements of the game?
Like for the video itself, or like
any of it. The video could be your favorite element.
That's fun. I mean, that's
directed by Les Landau, one of our regular directors, starring Robert O'Reilly, but not as Gowron, as Captain Kavik.
I always like his performances, and it really added to it.
He was fun, and the randomness of it was fantastic. Yeah.
And we did watch the death scene at the end where he went spinning in his chair. It was fun.
Would have been nice to have like a. And it's hard to manage that sort of thing, especially with a VCR. I mean, if you had a DVD, there are all kinds of things you could probably do with this.
Skip tracks and stuff.
Like a choose your own adventure thing.
Yeah.
But also, just here's a victory ending or something like that. It was more like, this is what happened if
Yeah, the DVD, they could have given us options on screen you pick from, and that sets which video you go to next.
And even that's pretty advanced. Yeah. And, I mean, for when DVDs first came out.
Right. When they first came out, but by the end of DVDs, because I think they ended a while ago. They did.
Well, I mean, Blu-rays too.
Yeah. But current Blu-ray could do those things.
Yeah. As you were saying, even DVD when that was.
Well, I mean, I have some old DVDs before Blu-ray that they had like trivia quizzes and stuff in the bonus features, and you could select and stuff. So they were interactive. They had the technology. They just didn't do it a lot. So yeah, I think one of my favorite elements. I liked that we all had ranks and that there was a hierarchy.
Yeah.
I like that it's while there is a winner, it feels more cooperative to me than winner, and I like the cooperativeness of it. It's us versus the Klingon.
Yeah, which made it tricky because some of the cards were like, take this. I felt like, I just could not get any isolinear chips.
No. Did you end the game with 1?
0.
You had one, they took it away, but I think you got it back.
I got one back.
Yeah.
But there were some like, freeze one of your other crew members for a minute. It's like, I don't know, sure. I guess like at the end when I was in stasis, it helped that you guys... Since you guys were the only ones who were going to get in there, it actually did help us at the end.
Yeah.
Right.
That I was in stasis.
So. Oh, yeah. So, it's not necessarily... Exactly. Yeah. It moves a little faster if you don't have to...
Yeah.
But at the same time...
And there was a time where only one of us was playing at a time for a while.
And that's even helpful. Yeah. Well, I just thought of two things at the same time. One, if you have fewer people moving, you have greater chances for one person to get more cards, because it actually helps. By the end, I just had almost everything. And there's some... I do like the luck element of that too. It was just rolling. I just happened to land on computer access. And so, like, toward the end, I was just like, suddenly.
I like that after you have 3 isolinear chips, you can just go in the security room and get a phaser, and you don't need a card for it, because the phaser is such an essential element, giving us that advantage.
I didn't realize that detail about the rules. So. Oh yeah. So even going back, I love that it actually said you have to read the rules aloud. I think we did. Yeah, you need to. If everyone's in the room, they need to just like experience at the same time, process it, and it really isn't that bad otherwise. If you had somebody who was just like trying to explain as you go along, it wouldn't work.
The other thing we did that slowed us down was we kept stopping to read the cards to each other, and it says in the rules you don't have to read the cards. And I think a lot of that was
going ahead and rolling late in the game. But yeah, you're right.
And late in the game, we're not even waiting for you guys to read your cards. We're just rolling. Yeah. But it was helpful because then we knew what you had, and we didn't know what the cards were. We didn't know what the options were. And then it also helps when you have to steal a card from somebody to know what's out there. Instead of at that point stopping to
yes.
Right.
So yeah, I think there's a lot of ways we could do it faster.
I mean, certainly for the purpose of recording for somebody to watch along to, you do want to kind of
little time.
Hey guys, this is what we have in our hands. So like just silently going.
Right.
I think we could have shaved 40% off our time, which would make it almost impossible to lose. Like if you're going at a good clip, you're probably going to win most of the time.
if you have 3 experienced players. So I was realizing that, 'cause I think you said this before, that there's like a minimum 3 players. So it's like 3 to 6.
Is it minimum 3?
I think so. Which makes sense because if you most of the cards are like pick a player to do this or the highest rating.
Otherwise, you just pick them together.
One guy. So it would be hard to do with 1 or 2, for sure.
Yeah.
But maximum of 6. Yeah. Do you think it would be easier with more players or harder?
It depends on the experience level of people involved, but that's part of the fun too, because it's almost it simulates having a crew of people who have different experience levels of doing the things, and it's kind of like a
I mean, I kind of feel like you're better off if you have less people overall, because then you have more chances to get the isolated chips individually.
Exactly.
But on the other hand, if you have a bigger group, then you get picked on less often by the captain, and less obstacles thrown at you. So I feel like the mechanics are as such that there's
maybe a B,
Beige. It's B-I-J, but it's pronounced beige.
Okay.
B-E-E-G-A. So there's the mechanics of the game have different advantages and disadvantages to big groups and small groups, which is cool.
Yeah, that's one of my weaknesses or whatever. Systems like that, when somebody can come up with a good simulation system for things to play out like that. I don't know. I just like the idea of the mechanics.
As well put together as this was from a mechanical perspective, and I think we all agree it was very well put together. Yeah. Why did this game never get popular? It came out in '93, so well before the DVD player. So VCRs were still the thing. It's not like it came out too late for the technology. Yeah. I think I told you guys off camera that I paid, I want to say $25-$30 for that, brand new, shrink wrapped, and there were plenty of copies available. It wasn't.
When was this?
Like a year ago, if that.
Okay.
So recent. If you want your copy, you can get a copy for not a lot of money. Brand new. They're not hard to come by.
Interesting.
Even though they came out 30 years ago.
As long as you have a VCR to play.
As long as you have VCR. That will be harder to come by than the game.
Well, let's stop there for a moment. So because it's kind of a there's this niche thing that happens. So you have like classic gaming, classic consoles. That gets expensive.
Yeah.
Locating cartridges and things that were out of production. It's a weird kind of cross section of, I guess, interest and technology that people would have. I mean, you could probably still buy VCR. I don't know. Can you? I mean,
I don't know. My parents gave me that. They were going to throw it away. They don't have one anymore.
I don't know the last time I looked.
I'd assume if you Google, because I heard the kids these days, VHS has made it come back the way like records have made it come back. Yeah. Well, I don't know why, because the quality sucks.
Right. Well, one of my friends who I mentioned like off camera before, they actually had like a VCR, and they were mentioning going to needing to go to like a thrift store or something to find one. Or I don't know if
did they not Google?
Some of it's probably price points, but at the same time, I don't know if I could just like walk into a Target and just go.
Oh, not at a Target, no. But you can Google. Online sellers, I'm sure you can find easy enough.
Time has just flown because it feels like that was a standard for me for the longest time. I want to have like the combination TV, VCR, DVD player. You remember those things and those kinds of things? Or I used to have just standard. I would have that portable, not necessarily portable, just the VCR deck.
Yep.
That just.
I think I was still recording Dawson's Creek in this last season on the VCR, and then.
Oh my God.
My girlfriend introduced me to DVR on cable, which I didn't realize I had, and I was like, whoa, wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
I was like, do I have this? She's like, yeah, you already have this. I'm like, I do? I was like, oh, man.
I can remember the mid-2000s.
Yeah.
The 200s. I had a system where I had 2 VCRs on different TVs, set the timers so you can, because all the things were airing at the same time.
Yeah.
And... finally, like using the DVR features with cable, and my God.
I mean, that first season of Lost and 24, I was watching those on VHS tapes that people had recorded for me, so it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
Although I guess those shows are a lot older than I think they are.
Yeah. It's it feels so recent, but it's not. It's like 20, 30, not 30 years ago.
Well, when I got my first DVR in 2005, which, God, was 18 years ago, I still... While I'd had a DVD player for 5 years at that point and had DVDs, I still had a VCR and maintained it and used it.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't record on the DVD player.
Right.
So
Right. Oh, yeah, exactly. It was
They
still
overlapped.
that. And still overlapping with DVR, of course, because catching up to having that.
I still have some home movies on VHS I need to transfer to digital, and I think I'll make a digital copy of this too, because this will transfer just fine, and I don't want to lose it.
Yeah, great idea.
Yeah, I started binging when I would DVR Smallville, and I wouldn't, and then I'd have to have a day where I had nothing to do, and I'd catch up and blow through all my stuff.
If you look at my meager collection of VHSs down there, I've got Smallville, some episodes of Smallville recorded. I have the Shatner roast on Comedy Central. Yeah. It's you can't really see what's going on, but
I used to have just like a brick of VHS cassettes. They're probably somewhere in my.
I still have some from like the 80s that I'm still holding on to just because.
You don't have a VCR.
Yeah.
I don't have a VCR, so
both of those things.
Look into.
I think I'm.
We've done several special episodes on VCR tapes that you can't get any other way for this podcast.
Yeah.
So hopefully those people listening to us either got themselves a VCR and are following along, or maybe they're just listening and hearing about it without watching it.
Yeah, so they should get around to getting into it.
But yeah, this game was great. I do want to talk about our play experience because we had a long time we weren't getting anything.
Yeah.
Then I got almost there and he took away my phaser because I would have been to the game 10 minutes early, but I lost my phaser.
It felt pretty good at that point, like it's gonna happen.
It felt perfect, and then he took away my phaser and I could not get that phaser back.
So I just want to clarify something. So. What were the requirements at the beginning of the game? Did you have like level 5 and a phaser?
Yes.
To get there? Okay.
To get into the bridge.
Yeah. So when time started running out, he's like, "Oh crap! You only need level 4 now." That's how I could get there. And a phaser. So
that was with like 8 minutes left, I think. 7, 8 minutes left. He lowered to level 4.
It felt like less.
Yeah.
He lowered to level 4. At that point, you had 4 already, and you had a phaser, so you were good to go. And there is a rule in the game that once you go in the Jeffries tubes to the bridge to your end game, you have to take off your comm badge. And if you don't, somebody else calls you on it, and there's a punishment. I can't remember what it is, but there's a punishment if you get called on it. Yeah. What happened was, with literally 3 seconds left on the screen, Keith rolls the amount required to go finish going through the Jeffries tube, get to the bridge. Steven, at that point, notices he has the comm badge on, starts to say something. As they argue about it, I reach over and move Keith the 3 spots that he rolled already. It was already rolled, and flipped the top, which is what Keith could do for his turn, but he didn't do it because he was talking to Steven about the comm badge, and that flip won the game. Now, whether it was a legitimate win is definitely debatable.
I wouldn't say it was an argument. It was. I was like, oh, you're right. I was like peeling off my comm badge
as you're talking.
Yeah, because I was trying to tell you, to save us. But
right, you were looking out.
Say no.
But the rule would have said keep your mouth shut.
Yeah, you're right.
I felt like I might have been already moving in by that point. I was like, peeling up. I'm already. I'm like specifically on the.
I'm pretty sure the punishment was for the good of the crew. You get to steal one of his computer access cards, which actually is an advantage to the team because you don't have to go back.
Right.
So technically, I'm pretty sure you don't have to go back. I'm pretty sure you just get to steal your access card, or maybe you get kicked out of Jeffrey's tube and he steals your access card.
I think you might have got kicked.
Anyway,
back to the entrance.
So what?
Let me grab the rules.
No, was it because you were both frozen at the time that I think that was it, because I got to keep moving.
Yeah, I think it was.
Otherwise,
I think we were both frozen.
That's why. That's why I didn't.
But my argument for the win was you had already rolled it. All you had to do was move and flip, and I did it for you because you were talking to Steven, and we had 3 seconds left. And so I flipped it with literally 1 second on the TV.
I'm still...
So that's why I'm counting it as a win, but I agree that if you were a stickler for the rules, that was a loss. So that's where it's that...
The part that I'm skeptical on is like the need for exact rolls to get through there, because it feels like
you didn't have to get exact rules to land on the bridge access. We were clear at the beginning of the game when we went over the rules. That was the one thing you did not have to get exact for. The rooms you did, but the bridge access you did not. Must remove the communicator so you won't be detected. If any player sees you in a Jeffries tube with your communicator on, you are immediately transported to the brig.
Oh, that's where you go.
So, did he flip the card before the transporter effect finished in those 3 seconds? I mean, that's debatable.
Oh my god.
That's debatable. Yeah, you do not have to have an exact roll.
Right. Read the whole thing for my peace of mind. I just want to know that.
You can win only after you have a phaser and all necessary isolinear chips. Okay. You must then get to the bridge before Kavik, or if he is there, secure the bridge by stunning him, because he got to the bridge like 20 minutes in.
Right.
But the first 20 minutes you don't have to stun it. Right. You don't have to have a phaser for the first 20 minutes. You can just secure the bridge.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, just go fast.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What about the roll?
Although it says to win, you have to have a phaser. I guess you just don't use it.
Okay.
because you've secured the bridge and he's
Right.
yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
but
they're all in
I would think you should have to have a phaser. Anyway.
Makes sense.
You enter the bridge via Jeffrey's tube. However, before you can enter Jeffrey's tube, you must remove your communicator. This is in bold, this sentence. So you won't be detected by Kavik. If any player sees you in the Jeffrey's tube with your communicator still on, Kavik has detected you and you immediately transport to the brig.
Right there.
At the end of the Jeffrey's tube, you land on the bridge access panel. You do not need an exact roll to reach this space. You can immediately try to enter the bridge by turning over the top bridge token, which is what I did. If the top token reads computer malfunction, bridge access denied, set it aside, wait till your next turn, and flip the next one.
Okay, wait a minute.
But we flipped the you stun Kavik, and I look, there's 4 of them.
Yeah.
2 of them are access denied, 2 of them are you win. I really think it should be 3 access denied, 1 win, but...
Wait a minute, wait. So, Ridgeway, that represents getting on the Jeffrey's
Jeffrey's
tube.
tube.
Yes.
So you're just on it, you can flip it at any time?
No,
Or-
you have to
You have
get to the last space on that.
Okay,
But you don't have to land exactly on
So
the
if
last
you got a
space.
2, you wouldn't have got there.
Right, you had 3 spaces and you rolled at least a 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So...
But it was probably, well over that.
Yeah, I think so. If you've successfully accomplished it before the clock reaches 0, you have won the game. And the other crew members should consider you a hero, and you'll be awarded the Federation Medal. It does say hero in quotation marks.
Okay.
And you'll be awarded the Medal of Valor. So that is...
All right.
Man, that's super debatable. Like, that is right on the edge.
Yeah.
How can we improve upon this game?
DVD right there, like the
Yeah,
being able to choose your own adventure thing, or even just like here's the alternate ending of this, or
Having a machine that works against you to keep it competitive but not impossible would be cool with some type of AI technology.
Right.
I don't know that we're there yet, but if it knows somebody's almost there and we got 20 minutes left, let's give them some setbacks.
One more, yeah.
Or,
Oh, we're definitely there. It's just I'm not sure we could do it with like a DVD or a VCR or even like a Blu-ray. It's like
it'd be pretty complicated.
an online engine.
Sure,
Yeah,
online engine.
There's plenty of things like that for even like when you're playing card games online with your friends. You can log into these rooms and they have that's certainly became more popular around 2020. I started finding some of those. And,
The only other thing I can think of is some cameos from Next Gen Crew. We got Riker's voiceover at the beginning.
Yeah.
Jonathan Frakes did the voiceover.
Yeah.
But back in the day, in the 90s, like 96, I want to say, 3 years after this, I did go out to Vegas with my father to the Star Trek Experience, the original edition, not the Borg redone. I never got to see they redid it after 10 years and made it a Borg thing.
It was all coincidental. His father was doing something else in Vegas, and Jimmy decided he was like stowing away in the trunk. You're like, I'm gonna help out.
I was 15. My dad had been traveling a lot for work. He was close to retirement, and they eliminated his department, but he took a travel job so they could hang on to retirement. So he had to travel a lot, which sucked for the family, obviously. But he got a bunch of free airline miles, and he said in front of me one day to my mom, "Hey Janet, they'd been to Vegas a couple times.
Yeah.
I got free airline miles. Let's use them to go to Vegas." And I spoke up and said, "Star Trek Experience just opened. I really want to go." And my mom said, "You're taking him for his birthday." So I went at 15 and a half to Vegas in July.
That's awesome.
And it was just my dad and I. And we were there for 3 days. It wasn't a long trip.
Right.
But we went to Star Trek Experience. We did the ride. We did the stuff. He bought me a baseball jersey T-shirt with Star Trek on it.
You still have it?
No, unfortunately, eventually it didn't fit. It got frayed. I was 4'10" at 15.
Right.
The story of the original Experience was you're like in the Las Vegas, like just a concrete room, and all of a sudden the lights go out and you feel whoosh past you, and when they come back on, you're on the transporter pad, and you've been transported to the Enterprise, and they walk you into a turbo lift, you go to the bridge, and on the bridge, the view screen comes on, and you're like talking to Riker and stuff. And so like there were cameos and stuff, and Klingons. The Enterprise had come back in time, and they were trying to save you from Klingons because your great-great-great ancestor. They were trying to kill you to prevent their birth.
Oh, right.
And so it's one of you in this group. And so then you're like on a ride. They put you in a shuttle, and you're on a roller coaster ride. It was really neat. It doesn't exist anymore, so I'm not spoiling anything. I really wanted to go after 10 years when they redid the Borg thing, but I was in my 20s and broke. So they changed. The ride existed for almost 20 years, but the second 10 years they redid it as a Borg experience, whereas I went on the Klingon experience the first time around.
So that was only in Vegas.
That's what I wanted from this, is what I mean. I want a little more of that interaction.
This might be Star Wars ripping off Star Trek again, because when I went to Disney and did the Star Wars experience, not the expanded one they have now, but there was a ride where you got on and you were on like a rebel thing, and there was an Imperial spy, but they would show somebody that was on the ride was the Imperial spy, and this was the person that had to get passage or whatever, kind of like that. And then you just started going, and I'm not good with motion. I can ride a roller coaster, but essentially it was just you're looking at a screen, you're moving. And then like 2 minutes in, I looked at my girlfriend. I said, "Is it hot in here?" She said, "No." And like all I was wearing was like a Pistons jersey and shorts, and I was just like sweating. I was like, and the way she had described it, I thought it was gonna be like a 25-minute ride. Thank God it was only like 5 minutes. Yeah. Or I had either yacked or been dead, one or the other. But,
makes me think several things. So. Like Kings Island, I think that those kinds of experiences, like a sort of like a roller coaster on tracks. You Kosai at several points it has those kinds of simulator rides where you go in the box. They're dipping you around, and you have the screen up there to simulate that. Yeah. And
Keith, you would have loved the end of it because the end of it ended with the screen showed the shuttle flying over Las Vegas, crashing into the hotel where the experience was, going down the basement, and when the ride door opened on the shuttle, there was somebody dressed as a janitor going, "How'd you get in the basement? Let me show you back up to the Star Trek."
God, I love that meta.
That's cool.
They committed to the bit the whole time. There was never a time where they broke the fourth wall.
That seems very Galaxy Quest too.
It was. Yeah. It was. And this was right about the time Galaxy Quest came out. Maybe a year or two before Galaxy Quest.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I don't. I think I have a really high tolerance for motion sickness. I found my limit once when it's one of the Gen Cons I went to. They had one of those conventions out in Indiana, and for the arcade they had the simulator set up for like race car driving. Yeah. You get into the box. I think there might have been a little bit of jostling, but the way the screen is set up, they have a little peripheral thing, and I was like, I'm just gonna keep going, and suddenly it's like. The guy warned me, of course. Getting in, it's like, hey, people do blah, blah, blah. I was like, whatever. And I was like, wait a minute, this is freaking me. Something was like starting to freak me out. I started getting just a little bit queasy. And I was like, okay, I think it took a while, but it got there. I don't know what it is. It's your brain just starts going, what's happening? This doesn't feel right.
I can't do a sitting still seeing the screen move, but the shuttle may not have been a roller coaster, but it moved enough that it didn't feel like you were sitting still. Like the whole thing rocked around. Oh, wow. So it wasn't just your seat. Back to this game. Yeah. The other downside I see in this box. The other downside I see in this box is it came with a sticker sheet, and you're required to use the stickers for comm badge and stuff. It has enough stickers. If you're playing with 6 players, I think you can do 4 games. Right. Because we didn't have 6 players, we could do more, but there's only 4 Medals of Valor. Right. So, but I doubt very much those sticker sheets are easy to come by these days.
That's what I was going to say.
When we played with the stickers because I made the point of how often am I going to play this. Right. Now that I know how awesome it is, I'll probably play it more. Right. Whereas I assumed it was going to be kind of bad, and we'd play it once and be done with it. Yeah. Instead, I'm like, no, I'm going to play again.
Okay, several workarounds. First of all, depending on what kind of material you're sticking on, you probably get some reuses. We were able to put it back on the sheet, essentially.
I have a ton of the action figures with the plastic comm badges. I can put Scotch tape on the back and stick them on masking tape.
Right there?
That's exactly what I would do. Yeah. I don't care about the rank. Those are optional.
There are also like button makers. Mm-hmm. Marianne has one of those. And you can make a pen. Yeah.
You can buy magnetic pips and magnetic comm badges these days. So you can buy physical copies. I don't know if you can get a magnetic Medal of Valor, but
it's,
the other stuff you can.
You can label anything. I mean, you get this,
You can make your own.
Yeah, print it out, label it.
You can make your own, but the comm badges and the pips you could definitely buy on your own if you wanted to. As metal, magnetic, and stick them on, which would be cool. If I was going to play this a bunch, I would definitely invest in that. I probably won't play enough for that.
Right.
But yeah. It's funny because Keith showed up as a captain, and his rank was chief, so he got 1 pip.
I still got the pip here. Yeah,
the 1 hollow pip. So technically, you look like a lieutenant commander. No, not even a lieutenant commander. What is 3 solids in a... Is that Commodore? 3 solids in a hollow? I don't think I've seen that. That's not a rank we see.
Please not a Commodore.
It might be. Hey!
Yeah.
We just saw a character in Star Trek Picard Season 3 that was a Commodore. That's a character we love. So you can't hate all Commodores. That's all I'm saying.
No, I'm only in. All right, fine. I just finished Season 2 Picard. I'm like maybe 3 or 4 episodes at most into Strange New Worlds.
Okay.
I remember wanting to mention I just love this.
You're going to love this week's episode of Picard. You are.
If I get to it.
It is. Keith, it's for you. All I'm saying is it's for you. The opening was for you.
Season 2, I got distracted. I kind of there's some point where I was on board for. I don't know what it was. I kind of like But once I powered through the last couple episodes, I was like, okay, I see the payoff. I see how this worked. Great.
Let's write off all the characters so we can do season 3 with the next gen cast. That was in all of the trailers.
Yeah.
The trailers I don't watch, but
sorry.
No,
that was like the big public announcement.
I know. I've already seen like little pieces here and there.
Yeah.
That's been almost unavoidable.
Yeah.
So, Strange New Worlds.
Yes.
Yeah, I see the attraction. We had the meme in the messengers for like, oh, finally real Trek again.
Yeah.
What do you think? No, your opinion.
No, it's wonderful. I'm just saying, real Trek again implies that other things haven't been real Trek, and they have been.
Right.
Yeah. No, I'm glad that's your opinion. That's pretty much what they were saying about it, especially the ones you don't.
Other than Into Darkness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
But yeah,
it counts because how many bad episodes of the original series do we watch?
Sure.
How many bad episodes of Next Gen have we seen?
Yeah.
I will count the bad.
Yeah.
Because we can. I'll count 2009 and Into Darkness because we got Star Trek Beyond.
Yep.
Huh. I remember so little about those other two, and I'm kind of.
Yeah.
Beyond's fantastic. Into Darkness
Beyond
sucks.
was fun.
I can't wait till we get that. Pike. That.
Yeah.
Love.
Anson Mount's amazing.
Yeah, he's great.
But he's
awesome.
got that. So it's like they found all these ways to do these workarounds for the time period to not do too much retcon.
Right.
Right here, we're not going to mess with this. And also, he's got that. I think the Kirk swagger, the saunter. There's just that thing that he did that. Schitt's Creek.
Yeah.
There's that one character they have.
Roland, the mayor.
No, there's the older couple who's out in the cabin. You see him come up, very nice. He always does that little laugh and that little jog when he's walking. That's sort of his catchphrase. He does a little like a little chuckle and does this sort of saunter gait. But that's what I keep thinking of for Anson Mount as Pike when he's got that very casual swagger down when he's getting up and moving somewhere.
Yeah.
That little.
I mean, he's a very different captain than Kirk, but he's also enough like him because he's of that era.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like they wanted to give us Kirk, but couldn't. But they gave us something that was very close.
Well, we got Kirk though.
It's
We get. You've seen a few episodes.
Yeah,
so
I've
you've seen George Kirk.
I'm assuming that's his father or something, right?
No, it was his brother.
Oh.
Remember the episode that Shatner played
Operation
the dead
Knockout?
brother with the mustache?
Yeah.
It was Shatner with a big mustache laying on the ground.
That's him.
That's him.
I don't.
Except now he's alive. He's not Shatner with a mustache.
Oh my God.
And
They called out the mustache in the episode. I didn't.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I just love that.
I'm glad he has the mustache.
And I know we're 20 years ahead on this on Strange New Worlds what we're doing right now, but the fact that they were able to pull from the pilot episode, the Cage and the Menagerie, whatever, whichever one you want to pick,
the unaired pilot,
and we're able to move all those aspects of Pike's personality in that episode into
modern.
That. Just the whole, his whole, he's conflicted. He did want to kind of like, man, maybe I do just like be on my ranch making eggs with my girlfriend or whatever. Whereas Kirk, I guess Kirk had those too, but he was still married to his ship.
How many times though was it said the Cage was ahead of its time?
Yeah.
Turns out we thought it was only a few years. It was 60 years ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Because they could remake the Cage with this cast, and it would be perfect.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to change.
And Mabenga,
you wouldn't have to change
for me and I don't think my brother and sister have seen him, but like I said, we were
a couple episodes.
I thought Mabenga was in like my mind. I would have thought Mabenga was in like 8 episodes original, but when we were like 2, and I was like, man, because we loved him.
I didn't even know that.
Because we would play. I guess we were doing it before we knew we shouldn't be doing it, but we would play Dr. Mabenga instead of McCoy.
Yeah.
So we were also played Sulu. So.
I am slightly disappointed they didn't use the same actress to play Chapel and Una.
Yeah.
They're such different heights.
No, I'm going to say unless you were like doing blackface and even.
We weren't. No, we just like we liked him. We were like, I want to be him. That's cool.
Right. You were that is what you were supposed to be doing. That's the message you're supposed to be getting.
Exactly.
From that. But you didn't know. You didn't know from like.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Society saying no, you're not supposed to.
Exactly.
Kids' innocence. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I guess while Chapel and Una were both played by Majel Barrett originally,
right.
Number 1 came across as taller than Chapel, so it makes sense they've cast the actresses the way they have. I love Jess Bush as Chapel and Rebecca Romijn as number 1.
Both the same
In the original pilot, Majel played number 1.
Oh my!
And then she played Chapel in the series.
Yeah.
Huh.
But in Stranger Worlds, they're different actors.
Yeah.
I mean, the Cage is probably the episode of TOS I've probably seen most.
I was disappointed.
I remember all these little things.
I was disappointed we didn't get all the characters from the Cage, like Ortega and the Colt and Philip Dr. Boyce, but
Ortega was in the Cage.
No, there was a different.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see what you're
different Latino guy. What was his name? Jose. Wasn't it Ortega?
Oh my God.
Jose something.
Yeah.
They tried to make it more diverse.
Yeah.
Which was smart because otherwise it's all men plus number 1 and Colt, who was
right.
Not using Colt.
Spock was there, of course.
Of course.
Not using Colt was the smart move.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
No, I have to go back and rewatch that at some point.
And you saw who's going to be the chief engineer for season 2, the actor. I mean,
I did, and I forgot. I know it's somebody I love. So
yeah.
All right.
Very unexpected.
Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to mention, and then there's something else I've already forgot, but just from what I see, what they're doing so far with these first couple of episodes, it feels like they're still giving themselves some leeway because it's bleeding over from Discovery.
Yeah.
What Pike experienced in that, and they're playing with that kind of cause and effect. There's a way to get it, So
he's a tragic end. He's heading for a tragic end. There's no way to prevent it.
Yeah,
I think Una's heading for a tragic end too.
Are you? This is your opinion, or
it's my opinion.
Oh, okay,
it's my
right.
opinion.
So
I think Pike and number 1 are heading for tragic ends.
Because I guess unless you just decide this is an alternate universe, then
this is what I'm saying. They're setting it for it could be. I mean, this Discovery did all kinds of things like that.
Right.
They kept playing with it, kept poking at it, and it's like, okay, this
they poked, but they didn't break.
We're going to go over here. Yeah, we're going to put you in the future. We're done with this. We're done messing with this. And it feels like they
Discovery poked but never broke canon.
No, exactly. I love it. Yeah.
And I think Stranger Worlds isn't going to break canon. I think Pike's still going to end tragically. And I hope we get to see Anson Mount play that, even if only briefly.
Yeah. But they still have the Kelvin exit.
No.
You can go, well, this is an alternate version, blah, 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 and they set that up. And
speaking of things I did not like.
They've given themselves 10 seasons before they'd have to depart from what's canon, or 8 seasons. So, no, there's no reason to depart from canon.
So I remember something they said that made me think, oh, wait, this is like a 10-year mission? Because he...
Pike did 2 5-year missions.
Okay.
Before Kirk took over. Or 3. The Cage was part of the first. Stranger Worlds is starting the second. So he's still got almost 10 years.
Wait, no.
Kirk.
Before
You're saying that the Cage has already happened before Stranger Worlds?
Yeah, 3 years before Stranger Worlds.
No. Wait. What?
Yeah. But the menagerie hasn't happened yet. The Cage has happened.
Oh, yeah. Crap. But
the menagerie was 13 years after the Cage.
Yeah.
Discovery started 3 years after the Cage, 10 years before the original series.
You think they've got like 10, 15 years to play with it?
Like 8
All right.
years. We got time, so there's no reason to do an alternate.
Yeah.
So the thing got me distracted.
Plenty of planets of
the only thing I would say that Stranger Worlds does that breaks canon, and I say that loosely, is they have changed the ethnicities of a couple of established characters. Like Captain April, we saw in the animated series, was white. He's played by a black man in Stranger Worlds. And Lieutenant Kyle was played by a white man in the original series. He's played by an Asian man in Stranger Worlds. But I feel like those aren't...
Yeah.
They don't change who the character is.
Right.
The way they're portrayed. Because race in the 23rd century doesn't matter like it does here.
Right.
So you can change the race, and it doesn't necessarily affect who the character is the way it would if you change a character's race in current times. So I accept that all as part of the same.
That's not the way of looking at the fictional company. Right.
Yeah.
But, right. So...
And I really like the actors they have playing April and Kyle, so I'm not... Yeah, that's why I can't complain.
Just to close it up. The thing was, I remember going... He said something during one of those meetings, or it was when we were getting to know Uhura, essentially.
Yeah.
And asked the question, where do you see yourself in 10 years? He got that far-off look. So I started to think, wait, I guess it got in my head, oh, this is going to happen in 10 years or something. So, 8. All right, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. Essentially, yes.
Yeah.
But I love that he knows it and he's haunted by it, and it's the running theme.
It could be a limiting thing, but it really isn't.
But I
so
feel
far.
like he got over it.
Yeah.
Like, not got over it, but he's accepted his fate by the end of season 1 in a way that, I like that's part of his story, is having to accept that.
Well, so I've gotten far enough in where they got to that this is a very simple thing. This is why I'm where I am as far as the theory goes, because this is what they established. Somebody said to him, how do you know?
Yeah.
And this could be this could be that. It could mean all kinds of things.
Sure.
And he's still committed to I'm sure that he needed to. So
because nobody else experienced what he experienced. He knows that's what's coming to pass. Nobody else experienced that.
But that's still.
So if somebody tells you I know my future, you're gonna be like, you don't really know your future.
Right.
There's some wiggle room.
Right.
Pike knows there's no wiggle room. Pike knows it's just gonna happen.
But how can you? But so there's like.
Well, there's a point in season 1 where he debates trying to change the timeline.
All right.
But it's locked in.
Yeah, I think.
I think there's a whole entire conversation out there about
time
sitting on the edge of forever. It's like let's not screw anything up.
Right.
In this instance, it's like doesn't matter what you do. It's not going to.
It's not going to screw it up.
We got that in season 2 of Picard. We got to the end of that.
Yeah.
As that they cover that concept in Lost too. Like what happened happened.
Yep.
So there could be like a circular sort of thing that has to occur to get to this to make this other thing happen and.
They were pretty clear in Discovery. The Klingon told him, once you've looked at this crystal, this is set in stone.
Okay.
You can't fight it.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
That would be the thing.
And that was the thing. They said if you touch this becomes set in stone.
What?
And Pike made the conscious choice. But he hadn't seen it yet.
Wow.
But he made the choice. I can't remember why he made the choice, but there was a good heroic reason to make the choice.
It is a bit of it feels like a Twilight Zone kind of thing of no matter how you try to change it, you're going to end up.
Well, there's that somebody else is going to get that bot with the button who doesn't know you.
But Pike doesn't know that Spock's going to pull that happy ending for him.
That's true.
So we know there will be a happy ending. He doesn't know that.
That. Well,
so I'd love to see that scene repeated in some way.
That's a completely another conversation as well.
Anyway.
So do I get to go to Talos 4? Take me now.
So, this episode about Strange New Worlds.
Damn it.
We couldn't wait 20 years. We had to get to it.
I know. I'm going to build this as a split episode.
That's a good idea.
It's one episode, but these are the two topics.
Yes.
And that's the only way we can do it. And we did not talk nearly enough about the game to make it its own, plus this is a different one. So these are combined episode. Anything else we want to talk about the game? I think it's pretty clear we enjoyed it.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun.
I think the hour on it also, we talked about this before.
That's right about the right time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not too long.
I don't want to play it for 4 hours. I'm not one of those. I don't want to play Monopoly for 4 hours. I don't play anything for 4 hours probably. But
less than an hour, there's not enough variability and stuff to keep it interesting for repeat plays.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now you repeat playing, you get the highest rank. You're like, crap.
Yep.
I don't want to be the high-ranking one. Because normally people open that game like, I want to be the commander.
Exactly.
No, I want to be the cadet. Leave me alone.
Yep.
It's fun. Then it gets into the timing. I would say that I don't know. There might be a ceiling on the amount of replay plays
Sure.
for some people.
Depending on how, like, if you were playing it once a month, but if you were playing it once a year or twice a year,
Yes.
Yeah, because otherwise, then you're getting into almost a Kobayashi Maru thing where you know it so well. You're like, I know how to game the system. I mean, we obviously learned we need to go faster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But beyond that, you might be like, okay,
but I know the timestamp where this is going to happen, and to hear by this, and then
you start to learn the timestamps, so you're making sure it's not your turn. You're
right.
Yeah,
because we're already kind of musical chairs, and like, I don't want my hand on this.
But there are a number of things where he's like, Bish! And if you pick Bish, it could be a good thing if it's got the malfunction.
Yeah, right.
Except that's going to be the latter half of the
game
because they were trying to give you some advantages to even things out.
But it's also really hard to time out that your turn lands on those timestamps.
Yeah. It's which is why I guess I was so impressed with or like freaked out at the beginning because of how well it's going to be lining up with certain events. It's just how do you know that I'm doing this? And
a couple of the things at the beginning, it was like there's a pretty high chance that you're doing something like this at the beginning.
Yeah.
It was well created.
Yes.
Les Landau directed. We talked about that. I don't know who wrote it. But Robert O'Reilly and Jonathan Frakes are the two actors in it. Voiceover from Jonathan Frakes.
One other thing, we didn't mention that I think we figured out maybe time essentially freezes while.
I'm pretty sure you're right.
Yeah, so they say in the rules stop playing. I guess probably only if he says. Well,
he says that Mish almost every time. He says it every time.
Not every time. I noticed that. I was like, wait a minute.
Because at the end, we just stopped stopping and kept playing through his talk.
Right.
Yeah, there were some cases where it was like
right, yeah.
it'll go away. He won't say it when he comes back. And there's some event happening he was describing, or he doesn't say it when he comes first. So I think maybe there's some sort of technicality we need to look into as far as it goes. But the point is, it seems like time stops, and then you have certain like temporal events that make up for the time that he. Yeah.
It says specific in the rules when he comes on the screen, you're supposed to stop.
Right.
But when we got down to the end, we just kept. We were like, He's only focused on Steven. I could go.
Yeah. in ways that would probably.
I mean, once he's engaged with one of you guys on the communicator, I feel okay to go. I feel like that would be legitimate in the episode. If he's talking to you, he's not looking at me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I would hear him say something in Klingon, and I wasn't registering Ceylon or Ga or whatever.
Or he gave you a nickname.
Or whatever it is.
You got to have the volume up because if you miss that first word or two, sometimes.
The DVD you can rewind it easy. VCR not so much.
Yeah.
So
another thing right there, just like a little 5-second go. What?
I got it, but
it's
and then that screws up the time, so you don't want to. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, technically, if the time is frozen during that point.
Well, the game says
if you stop it, you could probably.
But the game also says at times it's made to be intentionally confusing. Just do your best to keep going.
Yeah.
You forget whose turn it is. Just pick someone and keep going.
Right.
Yeah. So that's where I was like, if we missed something, oh well.
Yeah.
Well, that would also increase the replay value.
Yeah. I think we all would recommend.
Yeah.
How does this rank against other Star Trek games we've played for the podcast? I think it was the worst.
I think it was the best.
I think it's probably in the middle. No, were there other games you played for?
Not yet.
Not
yet. This is the only game we've played. Although I have a couple of next generation board games, and Keith is lobbying to do some other special episodes.
Sure.
I will say I played Game of the Galaxies a few times. The other one I played once. Game of the Galaxies I enjoyed. It's not nearly as much fun as this. And the other one I did not enjoy. So we can get it out. We get out the star charts and the wax crayons and see how it goes. But
wax? Oh my god!
Oh yeah, wax crayons.
Yeah.
So you can wipe off the star charts when you're done.
Oh my god! So
Nice.
What did we? So fairly early on,
But Game of the Galaxies you can't play as Whoopi Goldberg. So Nick bought me Star Trek Panic, which is the take on Castle Panic, and it's the original series. And you play as one of the main crew, and they each have special abilities. Kirk or Spock or McCoy, her. It's really. I've only played it one player because you can't play 1 to 6. But that one's fun. That would be a good. It's like Castle Panic, but the castle can move because you're a starship.
I'm not familiar with the Panic.
Those are group games.
Okay.
Everybody against the game.
Okay.
Collaboratives.
Gotcha.
And so Castle Panic, it's monsters keep coming into the castle, and you have to defeat all the monsters before they destroy all your defenses and destroy the castle. In this, it's like Romulans and Klingons and stuff coming at you, but where the castle's stationary, you can actually move the ship, and that moves all the other ships around you.
Okay.
So that's a different play ability. I've only played it one player, but I enjoyed it. It's just like Castle Panic, it's nearly impossible to win one player. You need a couple players to do well.
Oh, there you go. That'll be.
I also have Star Trek Flux.
Okay, those always amuse me.
I've never played it, and I've never played Flux.
All right, so you.
And then I do have Star Trek Uno, which has some special cards as well.
Nice.
I have played this.
Yeah.
You have, besides the reverse and skip, which are all here, and draw 2, there are, I'm looking for them. There are some special Star Trek specific cards. Live Long and Prosper card. There's four Star Trek specific cards. Oh, the instructions will tell us what they are. Live Long and Prosper is a wild and new hand card, so you can throw out your hand and try again. Mind Meld card is basically like a wild because you can play it on any card. But then you command another player to show you their hand because you're mind melding.
Oh wow!
Beam Me Up Scotty card stops a command directed at you, like you beamed away and escaped it. Or a Double Tribble card lets you call any color to continue, and then the next player must draw double number of the cards in their hand. So they have to double their whole hand.
Yeah.
So if you have a big hand...
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it is.
Right,
this one I have played.
You're saying you've never played a Flux at all before?
No.
All right, so the idea is it's all card-based.
Yeah.
It's just wacky rules that keep coming up. So you have
oh, here we got this.
Triples card.
Tribbles.
It's the customizable card game, which I have a bunch of the next gen customizable card game cards, which was their version of a Magic the Gathering or Pokemon type game.
A collectible.
Yeah.
So the idea is you start off with a card that establishes what the winning condition is. It can be several things. You have to have this number of cards, or you have to do whatever.
Yeah.
Some things you have to collect, and that Flux, it keeps changing. So somebody might draw something that then changes the winning condition.
Yeah.
And things like, well, this card is in front of you, so this does this. So it's like that, like having the computer access cards, but they do.
Like I was playing poker last week, and one of the games was Follow the Queen. So whatever would follow the Queen was the wild card, and so you might have 4 aces, but then if somebody flips a queen, and the next card changes the wild card, all of a sudden you don't have 4 aces. You've just got.
Wait, so I mean, is it like Texas Hold'em, and so
it's it's kind of like, I think everyone gets 7 cards, and then the first person flips, and you bet or whatever. But if somebody flips a queen, then the next card is whatever the next card that gets flipped is the wild card. So it might be a 4, so you might have 3 4s, and you're thinking, oh, I got 3 aces. But then somebody flips a queen and flips a 5, and now you still got 3 4s, but you don't have 3 aces anymore.
Are they looking through their hand? They can choose to do that, or is it just like
you start with 7 face down, so you don't know when that queen's coming up, or if it's coming up for that matter, depending on how many players you have. So that makes me think of it.
But there's many variations on that. One of my favorites is one called "We Didn't Play Test This," and there's like a series of those "We Didn't Play Test This" either. So the idea is it's like it's almost intentionally broken. So all kinds of weird things that don't quite make sense are just coming up and.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing from Keith is between seasons we need to start
more
doing
game
one
episodes.
of them board game episodes.
Yeah.
I mean, at least for the next 6 or 7, we're covered.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we can find a few more online we don't have. So.
Yes.
I mean, almost all of those have been gifted to me. Those weren't ones I sought out.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Final thoughts on this game that we played.
Yep, there we go.
That was fun. Yeah, I thought it was going to be,
there we
like
go.
you said, I thought it was going to be a lot more complicated with the rules and all that. I was like, no, this makes sense.
I thought it was going to be not nearly as much fun and not nearly as well built.
Yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised in a great way.
Yeah. My God, for a VHS cassette, just a later thing, it's like, how did that even...
That's the other thing that occurred to me at the beginning. I think part of maybe why this didn't take off, because I posed that question and then we got off on tangents.
Right.
But I think part of why maybe this didn't take off is there were so many VHS games in the early 90s, and most of them sucked.
Yeah.
Most of them were terrible.
Yeah.
So, if you don't know that this one's actually good, you could have been already tired of VHS games.
I'm not even sure how many have I played in my lifetime when that was a thing.
I only played a few, but they were terrible.
Just the idea, it would probably feel like, oh, this is too much work, or it's too exotic, or something. Even at the time, it was like...
I've never seen a VHS game this well developed. I haven't played all the VHS games available, but I played a select few of some of the popular ones, and they were bad. So, yeah, this was great. Well, this was the last special episode of this break.
Yeah.
So pretty soon... Not ever. Pretty soon we'll be back for the final season of the Next Generation.
Wow.
Until Star Trek Picard Season 3 in 20 years.
The final episode is all been tracked.
And the second season of Deep Space Nine, so plenty more seasons ahead.
I guess I probably won't.
I guess I need to finish reading that Descent novelization since we're about to watch part 2. Until next time, live long.
Gah!
Yeah. Well, that's it.
Gah.
Yeah. Well,
Gah Jackson.
Yeah.
And prosper.
Gah. Yeah.
Salon.
With honor and playing by the rules.
And prosper.
The letter of the law. Just like a Ferengi.
We won.
It's All Been Done presents
Who's Got the Time?